Welcome back to the next episode of the VYPEU podcast. I'm Robert Gonsolin alongside my co-host, Will Turboff. We've got some great stuff in store for y'all today. We've got track and field, we've got baseball, we've got football. We've got a great interview coming up with the class of 2022 defensive back committed to LSU, Marcus Scott II. We'll get to that later. But as for right now, let's kick it off to baseball. Will, what's going on with that sport?
Yeah, so baseball is still really exciting right now. Not a whole lot of action in Houston. We talked last week about two districts that are really hot right now. They're staying hot. I saw a great game between Strake Jesuit and Pearland Dawson. It was amazing. And I know there's been some really good games in that Katy district. But I want to talk a little bit about recruiting. We don't talk about baseball recruiting a lot just because most of these guys spend a few years in college, and they not a lot of talent comes out of Texas, but this year it's different. Isaac Pacheco, who we've talked about a lot out of Friendswood, he's expected to be in the first round of the draft this year. I think he's still not sure if he'll be going. But Jordan Lawler, who is from Dallas, plays for Dallas Jesuit. He's committed to Vanderbilt. I saw a mock draft where he goes number 1 right now. The Texas Rangers have the number 2 pick, so I think he'd probably like to be taken by them. But I see he's been looking at some of that draft stuff. There have not been a lot of guys that have turned down being a top 3 pick in the draft. So that'll be really interesting to see what he does. The VYPE Austin baseball rankings came out a few days ago. Same at the top. It seems like Lake Travis is not going to be taken down by anyone. But McCollum jumped up to number 3, and Cedar Park went all the way down to number 7 after a string of losses. But yeah, Lake Travis and Bowie went at it. Top 2 teams in the area. They had a series against each other. Lake Travis won. They finally seized possession of that first spot in the district. It was tied up there. I think Bowie even had the lead for a while because of some games early in the season. So 26-6A is going to be really important going into the playoffs. You know, as we get later and later into June, we may see one of those 2 teams in the finals. As for San Antonio, Reagan and Smithson Valley, both those teams are going to stay at the top, just like Bowie and Lake Travis, number 1 and number 2. I think it's been that way for over a month now. But San Antonio Johnson, who we talked about last week, they were in a great series with one of the other teams in that area. They jumped up to number 4 from number 5. They had recent wins against Madison and Brandis. They did lose to number 3 Churchill. So we've got Reagan, Smithson Valley, Churchill, and Johnson in the top 4 right now. Churchill is currently behind Reagan and Johnson in 28-6A. So 3 out of the top 4 teams in that area are all in one district. They're all kind of packed in that San Antonio area. So, you know, like I've been saying a lot, it's going to be really interesting to see where we get in the next couple of weeks. As for Houston, and I know, Robert, you're going to have some input on this, Katy. We love talking about them in every single sport. They're a fun group of guys. They're 23-3 overall and undefeated, 10-0 in district right now. Robert, you talked to those guys before the season. How were they?
Yeah, over at the VYPE baseball and softball photo shoot this season, they were just 5 of the guys were over there from Katy, and they just seem like some guys who really like to have fun. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Well, they were having a really good time at the VYPE photo shoot, and really when you just see teams that have such good chemistry like that and building off of each other and just out there having a good time, you know, you can really have some good success with that.
Yeah, they've had a lot of success. We talked about Tompkins in the last few weeks. They've got a lot of star players, a lot of guys committed to play college. They actually beat them 4-0 about a week ago. They had some great performances from their pitchers, J.R. Cianis, Caleb Fields, Braden White. All those guys have been studs all year. They're going to play them again this Friday, one of the last district games of the season. We're starting to get a feel for what the brackets will be like, but there's still a lot left to go in this season.
I'd like to mention that the Katy Tigers baseball team, they know how to dance. They were one of the only few teams who would be willing to do a TikTok for VYPE's account at the photo shoot, and also look out for some maybe you'll see some home run dances when they come across home plate.
Yeah, make sure to go follow VYPE_Texas. I believe that's our TikTok tag. We've been posting them every few days. There's really some funny ones on there. I know there's a softball team that's got a few players that are famous on there now. So really fun stuff.
And now we are very excited to bring our guest on with Marcus Scott II. He is a defensive back out of the class of 2022. He's committed to LSU, and we're just very excited to have him on. Marcus, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, we noticed that you are in track and field right now, and your team is doing great. You're a UIL 6A Region 2 qualifier. That's awesome. That's some of the best talent in Texas. Uh, you're a district champion in the 4x2 and the 4x4. You also run a little bit of the 100, 200. What are you mainly running right now? Is it just the relays or is the open events? What are you mainly focusing on for track?
Right now, it's mainly the relays, but all season I've really been focusing on, just getting faster, like on the get off. But I would say, like right now, since I have qualified in the 4x2 and 4x4, mainly focusing on the 4x4 because we are currently, number one in the country right now, just trying to uphold our title. But as far as focusing, I'd say I'd focus more on the 4x4 right now.
Yeah, 3 minutes, 13 seconds. That's very fast for high school. Obviously, you said you're number one in the nation right now. What are you looking for as a relay team? What are you all kind of looking towards in terms of your mindset trying to clinch the state meet this weekend?
We are really looking forward to just continually pushing our school, because being kind of like the little brother school in our district, we're trying to kind of push that narrative to the side and show that College Park has some guys too. And I think that our times and the things that we've been doing this year speaks for itself. But clinching the state meet would be a dream to us. That's what we've been working for all season. Of course, losing last season, it makes it all the more important to us. So that's the ultimate goal, and the ultimate goal is to win it for our school.
Well, that's awesome. I wouldn't really count out your 4x200 team either because, I was actually watching this in person this past Thursday, the number one team in the nation. We were talking about this. I was talking about this earlier with my co-host, Will. Ailey Taylor, they disqualified in the 4x2 at area. They dropped the baton on one of their exchanges, and they kind of had a little collision. So that spot's, I know they're a different region than y'all are, your College Park, but that spot's definitely going to open up for some teams down in Region 3. If y'all go to state, in the 4x2, it's definitely up for grabs for anyone.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you enjoy track a lot, right? Not just football.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, given the success you've accomplished this season, is track also something you'd want to do in college? Maybe be a dual sport athlete at the collegiate level?
It's definitely something that I've looked at. It would be such a shame that, for all my talents on the track to go to waste. So it's definitely been a thought to me. But of course, football is my main mindset. But, I've definitely considered it because, LSU is also a prestigious program in track. So it would be nice to be a dual sport athlete in college.
Well, good luck to you this weekend, but you've been talking about football. Let's jump right into that. Let's start off with a little bit about your commitment. You just in the state of Texas in itself rivals Dave Campbell's 24/7 ESPN. They're ranking you in the top 10 just out of DBs in the state of Texas. That's awesome. Right now, you're a 4-star cornerback from College Park High School. You're the number out of all cornerbacks in your class. You're the number 37th in the nation. That's awesome. For all recruits over all positions in the state of Texas, you're number 58 in your class. It's also great. And you committed to LSU on January 20th. And I noticed that January was kind of a crazy but very cool time for you. That's when you started picking up your offers. You want to walk me through that just time period for me?
Definitely. Well, it was not a short process, honestly. During the season, I was doing the legwork, continually sending out my film to where I could see myself playing football. And, that was the number one thing that I had to have was the film, or the process wouldn't have even started at all. But it was a crazy process because as soon as the season was over and I had the film, I just knew that I had to get it in front of the eyes of the right people. So of course, I was doing as much work as I can, reaching out to various DB coaches at different programs. And of course, LSU was the top spot because it's known as DBU. And they just happened to be my first offer. They saw the talent before anybody else. So
Yeah.
then, just the next few days, more schools coming into the pool because they saw like, oh wow, DBU offered this kid. We should at least give him a look, and that just put my film in front of the eyes of more people that really liked it. Because every single school that has been able to see my film, they've liked what they've seen. So that was the most important thing to me, was just getting it in front of the eyes of the people that had the power.
Well, it seems like you really did a great job of doing that because just 4 days later, U of H offered you, and you got an offer from 8 days after that, UNLV gave you an offer, and then but just 6 days later, you made that commitment down to the legendary program from Baton Rouge, DBU. Now, I was doing my research today and a couple of days ago, and LSU, very talented program, DBU. What makes you think, just as a player and proving yourself to the coaches, you've definitely proved yourself on the field. What makes you ready to just take on such a starting role or a great, like, just the role of being a football player at LSU, the DBU of collegiate programs? What makes you ready to take on that role?
Well, I would say that, in my coming up, I've always, started at the bottom, and I've always worked my way up to become the best. So I know that this will just be another challenge that I have to work my way up to becoming the best. And I have no doubt in my mind that I can do it. And also, what pushes me to want to go to the best program and be the best at the best program is just, my support circle, and knowing how many people were doubting me on my way up, just showing them that this is me and that this is what I can do.
That's great. And is LSU? You made the commitment so quickly. That's awesome. Is LSU kind of first, like, that's where you're really confident about doing? I know that's a great program.
Absolutely. I've done my research on every single school that's given me an offer and every single school that I've reached out to. And just knowing that LSU every single year has a top corner coming out, especially in corner specifically, because that's my position, corner specifically, it's just you can't, the resume is there and you can't knock it. I mean, it's just every single year that they have another guy coming out, those big, long, aggressive corners. And that's exactly what I aspire to be.
Tyrann Mathieu, Jamal Adams, Patrick Peterson, Grant Del Pitt. And this year, their top guys, Derek Stingley. We're hoping that you're next. That's awesome. Now, going straight from the Texas high school football on Friday nights to the SEC on Saturday afternoons, Saturday nights. What are you most excited for about getting to play at such a high level?
I'm really excited about the atmosphere and the platform because I know that, on the biggest platforms was when I performed the best. So, of course, being on a platform of a school like LSU, who has just won the national championship and is also known as being DBU, that gives me the biggest platform possible to, show my talents on the field while also going against the best competition in the SEC.
Well, do you know that right now, speaking about getting to play on such a huge platform and showcasing your talent, right now, I mean, that's where the best players play. LSU, their recruiting class for your grade is the third best of all NCAA schools. Uh, and jumping into the defensive back position, you're the third defensive back to commit to LSU for this grade. The other two are Jadarian Ryan. He's the number 20th ranked cornerback in the nation. LaTerrence Welch, he's at 14. And then there's you. That's just an elite group of people. They had Bryce Anderson, who was committed. He's another Texas guy he's from Beaumont Westbrook. I was wondering, are you gonna try to bring him back at all now that they have y'all three? One's from Georgia, you're from Texas. Are you going to try to bring him back and make a super squad?
I've definitely thought about it, because we really have the potential to be something special. But, Bryce is his own person. I'm me. And, we're going to continue to be, our individual selves. And we're all going to be the best that we can, no matter what, wherever he is. But I've definitely thought about it honestly. Campaigning to bring him back.
Well, I like that. I like how you talk about your being your own player, your individualism. That's great. As for Jadarian Ryman and Terrence Welch, have you reached out to them or been keeping tabs with them on the future?
Oh, absolutely. Well, we've definitely talked because we're going to the same school. We're going to be in the same defensive backfield. You have to start forming that bond right now, no matter where you are, and especially with the 7-on-7 environment. We see each other often, so we're able to talk about it a lot.
That's great. And so we're talking about you going into, and not that you have your senior year coming up, but the year after that, you'll be going off to college. What are you doing, even though you have one more year of high school football left, what are you doing to prepare yourself? We're talking about what you're most excited for, but what are you doing to just prepare to play in college? I know that's a general question, but just what is keeping you going?
Well, honestly, after the season was over and I first received the LSU offer, it just pushed me so much harder. I found I'm now on a 7-on-7 team. We're a really good, well-known 7-on-7 team with EPS Blaze, and they have taught me, the inner workings to being a great DB. So every single week going against top competition of guys that I will be playing against in college, other commits of the various different schools, that has really prepared me for playing at the next level because I'm going against the guys I'm going to be playing against, along with the guys that are already there. But, just getting that work in against the top talent, not only in the state, but in the country, because the college football world knows no barriers. So, getting that work in right now, I think it'll really benefit me whenever I go to college. And I'll also be a mid-year enrollee. I'll be there in January.
That's awesome. And see, 7-on-7, that's one of the big things I really like about these just for what high school football athletes get to do is, when you're on your high school football team in the regular season, you're playing the teams in your district all 4 years, and then you have a couple non-conference games, but then you get to go to the playoffs, and depending on how far you get to go, but you're not always going to get to play these kids from other states or other areas of Texas. And 7-on-7, that's really allowing y'all to just play against each other and prepare y'all even more, right?
Right.
Well, yeah, and so let's jump right into your actual high school football career. You go to College Park, like I said earlier. Y'all were 8-2 overall last year, undefeated in district. You were second team all district 13-6A, and y'all had some very impressive wins against teams like the Woodlands, Conroe, Oak Ridge. Y'all lost in the first round of the Division I playoffs 6A to Westfield. Can you just kind of talk a little bit about the entire season as a team and then yourself, how that season went for you?
Oh man, it was a magical season. I have an amazing team. Going into this season, we were really just trying to change the culture of College Park from being the little brother school to being the school to beat. So going into those non-district games, we really needed it, because we really, we built up our confidence and we found out just how good we could be. Because we had a couple of injuries, but we were still performing at a very high level. So we were, it just made us realize that whenever we had everybody, it was going to be great. I would actually, my whole team, we called this season a movie because we went from the team that nobody was worrying about to at the end of the season, going into the game against the Woodlands, being the team that everybody's rooting for to win the district championship. So from the first district game against Grand Oaks, we won that game. And then the next game against Willis, then Conroe, every single game got more and more intense. So especially the Conroe game, it was actually the game that we clinched the playoffs for the first time since I'm not even sure when. School's only been around since 2005. I think it was our first playoff berth since 2007.
That's great.
And that was a very important game. We were down 17-7 going into the half, of course, before we blocked the field goal and I returned it before the half, which caused a huge swing of momentum. And we ended up winning the game, pretty convincingly. But that game was honestly like a pivotal point in the season. And then continuing on from Oak Ridge and then the Woodlands, because the Woodlands, actually one of my teammates, his father passed away that week of the game. So we were playing for a whole lot more than just the district championship. We were playing for his dad too. So in that game, it was a back and forth game the whole time. Shots going back and forth. The game came down to a drive and a stop. So for my teammate whose father passed away to score the game-winning touchdown and then to getting the game-saving stop, it just felt like a movie. We felt like
that's really special. It's really special.
It was. We felt like the underdogs had finally reached the top of the mountain. And for me personally, the plays that I made this season, I was just doing my best to help my team get to the ultimate goal. In every single play that I made, it was a shake off, back to work type mentality. And of course, looking back on it now, I'm like, oh, that was kind of cool. But during the season, it was all about the business, which was just getting to the district championship, winning the district championship, and going on a playoff run, which is now the goal for next year.
And so through all that and just calling this season a movie, y'all definitely come together, I'm pretty sure, and just grown a lot closer as a team, right?
Absolutely. It's definitely brought us a whole lot closer because these are, everybody on the team, we've all grown up together for the most part. And everybody just loves to see us win finally because, for the longest time, College Park wasn't good and it wasn't a thought. And we finally made College Park the school to beat, which is amazing when you think about it.
Well, so now y'all are a playoff caliber team. Y'all basically been put on the map now. How are y'all going to bounce back? And so what do y'all plan to do? And how are you going to lead this team to bounce back next season and possibly go past the first round?
Oh, well, everybody still has that bad taste in their mouth. So that's already there. Everybody, every single day we are reminded somehow of our playoff loss and we reminded of how much pain that caused us. So everybody is hungry right now. Everybody's working every single day. I bring out the DBs and we always get our DB drills in after school. This isn't, coached. This is just, us doing our thing. And then the receivers are on the other side of the field with the quarterbacks. Everybody's just getting their skills work in just to get better during the offseason. Of course, we're about to start spring football too. But, everything that we're doing right now is geared towards making the team better to push that barrier. For the first barrier was winning the district championship. And now the barrier is making our first playoff run. So everything that we're doing right now, everybody's getting stronger, faster, and everybody, they're getting more technically sound on the defense and on the offense. So I'd say that, for the most part, just that hunger, that's what's, pushing us to, break that barrier.
Well, I mean, so you're talking about y'all met your goal last season of just winning the district championship. Now it's getting past the first round. What are your other main goals, or what are the team's main goals this season for you? It could be for you specifically, or for as a team. And what do you want to leave College Park's football program with?
Well, the team right now, we are obviously working for our playoff run, but I would say that I want to lead the team. Yeah, first of all, I want to lead the team in character. Make sure that every single guy has a good example to look to on and off the field. But I also want to lead by example and showing them that, whenever you are a hard worker and whenever you know what you could do and have the confidence that you can be in the same position that I am right now. I just want to, continue to show these guys that, okay, this program hasn't been very good in the past, but we are very good now. And that every single person in this program can be where I am. And I would really just say that I would want my legacy at the school to be like the guy that turned the tide, that changed it from guys wanting to transfer to go to the Woodlands to have a better opportunity to now wanting to stay because College Park has the assets to be that great school.
And so it looks like y'all are really going to be, mentally, y'all know where y'all are at next season. It looks like y'all seem like a step ahead of everyone else. That's really awesome to hear, especially in the off season, for just to look forward to next season and to make sure that everyone's on the same page. Y'all have spring football coming up. That's going to get y'all even further. That's great. It seems like your starting quarterback next year will be Ty Buckman, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Well, he seems like he's also a basketball guy, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yes.
As for football, he threw last season. He threw for 917 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, and a 56% completion rate. That's great. So he's a strong dual sport athlete. What do you see in Ty?
Man, Ty is a great leader. Like I see him leading by example all the time. Like when we talk about, quarterbacks of the team, I'd say he's a step ahead. He's just that guy that always knows exactly what to say and do to force the offense in the direction that they need to go. And the thing is, Ty, with those stats, we actually had two quarterbacks. He was splitting time and still was able to put up numbers like that. So it's just I would say that the way he carries himself and that the way he commands the attention of the offense is what sets him apart from other quarterbacks. And I just see a great leader in him. He really is the quarterback of the team.
Well, it seems like when you have Ty on the offense of such great character like you're talking about, and then you're obviously showing you seem like a great guy, and they have you on the defense. I mean, what could go wrong for y'all, right?
As long as everybody focuses on the main goal, keeps the main thing, we will always be okay.
Well, before I let you go, Ty, I want to thank you for coming on, but I'd also like to ask, is there anything about you or your recruitment or just that you would like to put out there, maybe for potential recruiters or coaches or listeners who are going to be listening to this? Is there anything that about yourself that you would want people to know? This could be about you or you as a football player, about anything.
I would definitely want people to know that, it's never going to be easy, but it can be done. My recruitment process, as miraculous as it may seem, it was a very slow grind out process, but it was something that I forced to happen, and that no matter what situation you're in, you can make this happen.
Well, that's awesome. Just always stick to the grind and never give up. Ty, we thank you very much for coming on here today. Best of luck to you in track and football and your future collegiate career. We know you're going to do some great things. So we thank you for coming in today.
Hey, you kept calling me Ty.
Oh, my bad, Ty. I'm sorry, Marcus. We were talking about Ty.
Excuse me. I got you.
But hey, Marcus Scott II, he's a great track runner, a great football player. Going to LSU, one of the top recruits in the nation. Remember the name. Well, that was a great interview. We thank Marcus for coming in and talking to us a little bit about College Park and his ongoing recruitment right now. So let's stay on the subject of football, Will. Let's dive more into the great sport in this great state.
Yeah, so I was out at Elite 11, one of their regionals about a month ago. I saw Connor Weigman punch his ticket there, a couple other guys. They had one in Dallas. I think it was actually in Southlake. So, Robert, you want to guess who was there?
Quinn Ewers.
Quinn Ewers was there, and he was side by side. I hope if you haven't seen it yet, maybe we can put a visual up of Quinn Ewers and Kate Klubnik just going at it. They were standing next to each other in a lot of the drills. It's the first time they've seen each other since that great game. It ended up kind of being a blowout in AT&T Stadium just a couple months ago. In my mind, if Weigman's probably number 2 in the state, Klubnik's a clear number 3. It's going to be going to Ohio State and Clemson. You can't have much bigger options than that. So it's not a surprise. Both those guys are going to be in Los Angeles for the Elite 11 finals. And Nico Evers, who's a guy that we don't talk about a lot. He goes to Lone Star, and I believe that's in the Fort Worth area. But he's committed to Florida. He's a clear number 4 right now in the state of Texas for quarterbacks. So now Weigman, Ewers, Klubnik, and Evers all going to play in Los Angeles at the Elite 11 finals this summer. So usually they pick around 16 to 20 guys. That means probably about a fourth of the guys there will be from Texas.
That just shows you how talented and how committed these guys really are in this state and how far that football goes for high school in Texas.
Yeah, I think we're seeing one of the best quarterback classes, not only in the state, but in the country too. Guys like Walker Howard and Devin Brown and Ty Simpson, who's going to Alabama.
Can we talk about the first quarter of the state championship game? Ewers and Klubnik It went 7-7, 14-14, 21-21. That was one of the best starts to a high school football game I've ever seen, I feel.
Yeah, go watch. We did a watch along party for that state title game. That first half was one of the most entertaining halves I've ever seen in a football game. Oh my gosh, the stars out in that game. Ewers, Klubnik, Brady Boyd,
Boyd, we
Greathouse.
interviewed him just a couple of days before.
Yeah, we did, and man, he was so excited for that game, and he had a great catch in that one. He's off. I think he may already be at Minnesota right now.
Well, we wish him the best of luck. Also, we wish all recruits the best of luck, even the ones most especially the ones we've had on our podcast. Our guy Jay Jensen III from Katy Taylor recently committed and signed with Simpson College. We wish him good luck.
Yeah, Simpson College, I believe, is D3. Hopefully, Jay gets an opportunity to show everyone what he's all about. He's probably had a bigger platform here in high school football. A lot of people had concerns about his size and his not his mobility. He's a very fast guy. When we interviewed him the first time, didn't he say that he thought he could go start for an SEC program?
He definitely had the confidence to, and not in an arrogant way, but just like the confidence builder he had in him to just take on the world. And that's really what you, in a positive way, that's really what you want to see in all athletes.
Yeah, and we doubted him. He said that his guys were going to go to, I think, the fourth round. They got knocked out late too. I mean, they'd lost to Clear Falls, right? So they ended up going a lot further than we expected them to.
He also had one of the top O lines in the nation.
He had some studs on there.
Well, I know there's some shifting away from the quarterback position. I know there are some other commits and signees that you've been keeping up with. You want to?
Yeah. So Beaumont United is a school that I covered a lot for basketball. In the last couple of weeks, I've gotten to know some of their football players. One of their cornerbacks, Chandler Rivers, he's a 3-star. He's committed to Duke now. And a guy out in Louisville, he's a running back named Damian Martinez, one of the top running backs in the state. He's going to Oregon State. One of those small town guys. They don't get as much exposure. We see that a lot. But Oregon State, Pac-12 team, Power 5. He's going to have a lot of eyes on him there.
Lots of talent coming in the next couple of years for college.
Yeah, and I think we would be remiss not to talk about one of my favorite positions in football, and specifically about a guy that I've gotten to know over the last couple months, Cam Dewberry. He was once, I believe, the #1 offensive tackle in the country. He didn't have as good of an end of the season as he would have liked, but he's still a 4-star, borderline 5-star right now on 24/7 and Rivals. He just revealed his top 5. He's narrowed it down to Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Alabama, University of Texas, and Ohio State. So if you're going to pick 5 programs in college football, I think that's a pretty good 5. What do you think, Robert?
I think it doesn't really get any better than that right now.
Yeah, so the offensive...
I'm a Longhorn fan, but I am absolutely impressed with the future that A&M has.
Yeah, A&M. I mean, and University of Texas is still in the mix, and they've already got the best guard in the state, Devon Campbell. Not officially, he hasn't officially committed, but he is crystal balled to go to the University of Texas. Kelvin Banks has a crystal ball on him for A&M. So a lot of these guys are staying in the state. I know the Brockmeyers are both at Alabama right now. I actually saw them in the spring game last weekend, and Jalen Milroe did not suit up for Alabama, but it looks like he may end up as the #2 quarterback coming into the season.
That's crazy. Because the thing about Mac Jones, he started as the 3rd string when they won the championship back for the 2017 season. When Jalen Hurts, and people obviously saw they pulled him out of the game in the second half of the the national championship against Georgia. They put in Tua Tagovailoa. Mac Jones was still in that locker room.
Yeah, he was there the whole time, and I love those pictures of all 3 of those guys together. It really proves how high up you can get in the college ranks. I mean, he just stuck around for his senior year. Would have never expected that he would have gotten a chance.
Won a national championship.
Yeah, and it looks like Demetrius Davis is also Bo Nix has one more year of eligibility left, I think. Either one or he's either going to be a junior or senior this year. But I saw Demetrius Davis just throw a bomb in the spring game, the A-Day spring game for Auburn. I'm pretty sure that we'll see him very soon.
I don't doubt at all that we will see an Iron Bowl matchup between Demetrius Davis and Jalen Milroe.
Man, imagine that would be crazy.
Saw them in high school play against each other. Be crazy to see them in college too.
Well, Robert, you're a district champion. You're an area champion now, aren't you?
No, I actually tied for third in area. I have qualified for the regional meet on Friday. I compete at Turner Stadium at 1:00 p.m. But I'm just humbled to be able to go to regionals and compete with some of the best athletes in 6A and see some of the best athletes also there from 5A. We had a lot of crazy stuff happen over the weekend at the area meets. The fastest 4x200 meter team in the nation that is A-Leaf Taylor, and they have a top time of, I believe it's, excuse me, no, they still, I know they're 4x100 top time, but they're 4x2 top time. They are the number one team in the nation. They actually disqualified at the area meet this past weekend. Remember, track goes from district to area to regionals to state. And if you're the top team in the nation, you're definitely going to regionals, probably going to state too. They got disqualified. I saw it happen in front of my eyes. What happened was they had a little bit of a mishap on the final exchange, or the second or final exchange, I believe, and they dropped the baton. But they still, right now, they're still posting the best time in the nation. We'll see if anyone beats it in the coming weeks, either at regionals or at state. Maybe, I'm not sure if a private school team would top it for, maybe they will for their TAPS meet, but that's okay for A-Leaf Taylor. Their 4x100 meter team is still standing strong. They're going to regionals this weekend. Right now, the national podium for the 4x1 is absolutely crazy. Well, first off, in first place, you have IMG Academy down in Florida. But in second place, Cedar Hill is up there with a time of 40.66 seconds. Katie Tompkins and Eddie Taylor, they are tied right on the dot for third place, 40.77 seconds. And then DeSoto, who is very strong in track and field, they have a long running history that boasts an impressive resume. They're in fifth place with 40.89 seconds. One of the top pole vaulters in the nation. VYPE's done a little bit of interviewing on him. Robert Postel, I know he's chasing 17 feet right now. He's been jumping consistently 16 and 16 and a half feet all season. He jumped 16 feet at the District 15 and 16 area meet. Still crazy high. It's super hard to just even get 15 feet in high school. All three of Strake Jesuits runners, at least five of their distance runners across 3 events all qualified for regionals. That is Ryan Bugles, Zane Gillen, Anthony Gregory, Reese Vanderson, and Miles Gillen. The 3 milers ran a 1, 2, and 3 in the mile at the District 23-24 area meet last Thursday. Anthony Gregory and Vanderson, they both broke their own school records. They both had the first best time in school history. Anderson had the second. They both broke theirs. Gregory ran a 4:11 in the mile. Anderson ran a 4:13. They're both going to regionals. Miles Gillen got third place. And now for the female side, Olivia Liu King, I actually pole vault with her outside of school at Bay Area Pole Vault Academy. She's by far one of the top track athletes in the nation right now. She's jumping 14.3 in the pole vault. She jumped 13.9, still got first place at area this past weekend. She PR'd in the 300-meter hurdles and got first. She ran 42.78 seconds. So be sure to watch out for her at regionals this weekend. She's definitely grabbing the attention from track fans all over the nation.
Yeah, Robert, well, you are our track and field whiz, per se. So it's really nice to know a sport that's not covered as much as something like baseball or soccer that's going on right now, to get some firsthand view on it.
Yeah. And it's just cool to just dive into each sport and see what great things all these athletes from all over are doing.
Yeah, well, you want to talk about diving into each sport. Before we go, many of you have probably seen the press release already, but VYPE will be partnering with Flo Sports starting this year, 2021, to provide high school sports to a national audience. It's a 4-year deal, 900 games and 6,000 hours of live programming annually for the next 4 years. Robert, I'm really excited for this, but I hope there's not any Flo Sports EU ambassadors that are going to take our jobs.
Well, I'm sure if anything, this partnership is going to actually upgrade your abilities, or like what you're able to go. I'm sure what I'm trying to say is I'm sure this will give you more opportunities. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, Flo Sports is a company that a lot of people are familiar with. I've watched some of their events before, so this is a really great opportunity for both companies.
Well, we all love high school sports nonetheless, and what we've been seeing all year. It's been another great episode. Once again, we'd like to thank Marcus Scott II for coming on, and we thank all of y'all for tuning in. As for the VYPEU podcast, I'm Robert Gosselin, along here with my co-host, Will Spermoff. We thank you all for tuning in.